Hello everyone, this is Derrick. How y'all doing? Let me tell y'all now, on yesterday, it was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. That was a celebration for him, something that, been going on for many years now. A whole lot of people got together. I didn't really hear whether there were some celebrities there, but usually there are. Dignitaries, sometimes, well, not sometimes, all the time there are preachers. And, I listened to this, most of it, pretty much most of the people that were speaking. So many people getting up and they were telling how they feel about the civil rights movement and how things were going and how things should be and what we need to do. I was listening and I was wanting to hear somebody speak about the things that we're dealing with today in the society with young black people, how they're killing each other. Every day I wake up and I hear that some young man has gotten killed. I'm talking about every day, almost every day, well, practically every day. And that bothers me, that we will have a day like yesterday and did not address that issue and this epidemic. I think about the people that march with Dr. King. I don't just think about Dr. King. I think about those people that marched with him, that stood there, that were stoned, as I'll say. People throw rocks at them. They sick dogs on them. Sprayed them with water hoses. All this stuff, I think about it, and I used to see that. And that right there, to me, was something that should be shown more for us to get back together as a people. Because I just do not believe that Dr. King would be happy with what's going on in society today with our people. I know he wouldn't be satisfied with it. We try every day to fit into this society. The reason we're able to fit in, it began back after the civil rights movement, when people were fighting for dignity. They were fighting to be treated like human beings. And let me tell you, I went back in my mind because I'm always thinking of everything. My eyes are closed for a reason. That way I can think. I think about how in, let's say, 40 years, I would say the plan was put in place a little longer than 40 years ago. But in my opinion, in 40 years, would those people march for Dr. King? Would they accept it being abused during the civil rights movement? I think that we have the black society, and I'm not talking about everybody. I'm not talking about all of us. Because I'm going to tell you in a minute who I believe they began to work on. I'm not talking about the people who growed up in Dr. King's dream to be somebody, to be treated equal, to become doctors, to become lawyers, real estate agents, firemen, police, everybody that's doing nurses. You know, I meet a lot of black people when I go places. I have a lot of respect for black people who have accomplished what they've set out to accomplish in life. I have a lot of respect for them. I think about them all the time. How they want to be perceived in this society. How they want to be treated as an equal person in this society. I think about them all the time. Have great respect for you. Yes, I do. I have great respect for you. And I was hoping that somebody was going to get up and was going to let us know where we are in this society. Because in 40 years, in my opinion, when it started doing the crack epidemic, people doing crack cocaine, up until now with this opioid epidemic, what it has brought forth to the black community, let me tell you, in 40 years they have reduced us. I say us because I'm black. I'm talking about my people, this generation that's coming up now. They've reduced us from people that deserve dignity all the way down to savage nigger. Savage nigger. Because that's what I'm seeing every day when I wake up. Every day when I get a call from somebody and they tell me stories like the story that I heard about this man going to avenge his daughter at her job, Bojangles, and then was shot by an employee. That's a savage nigga. The story that I heard about the girl whose family was planning her funeral. I happen to know her aunt personally. Her and my mother were one of her best friends from elementary school ever since second grade. My mother is 74 years old. But when I hear that they were planning her funeral, and uninvited guests came over, and they asked him to simply leave, and then he pulled out a gun, started shooting. Savage nigga. When I think about stories of someone telling me that a 21-year-old girl is found laid in the street from a bullet from being at a Halloween party. A Halloween party. I can only think about a savage nigga. I don't think about the good people that's living in this society, black people, that deserve to be respected? I don't think about that. I don't think about them when I hear those stories. I don't think about that when I'm hearing every day what our women are wearing, revealing their bodies and stuff. I don't think about that. I think about a savage nigga. I think about the way that we are presenting ourselves from what Dr. King and all those other people marched for. They did not march for any of this. Let me tell you, do you think that if they knew that we were acting like this as a black society, that they would have been marching, they would have been taking rocks thrown at them, they would have been taking dogs sicked on them, they would have been taking batons, beating with batons? I don't think so. I don't think so. When I hear about everybody being on the internet and YouTube and they showing what they like to do, I remember telling somebody some years ago, I said, I remember when I was growing up and I heard that the government is going to be able to see in your house. And I used to be thinking, how they going to see in our house? How they going to see in our house? I didn't know. I told this person this. And when I told them, they said, what? What you just say? Say that again. I said, I used to be thinking, how in the world is they going to be able to see in our house? That don't make sense to me. But here it come. I'm finna tell you what I told her that made her say, what you say? I said, I had no idea that they were going to put the camera in our hand. That's what they done. They put the camera in our hand to show them everything that we like to do. Yeah, that's what they did. Mm-hmm. So we show them that we like to get high. We show them what we like to get high with. We show them how much it takes for us to get high. We show them that, okay, we like these pills. We pop the pills. We like this weed. We like these blunts and all that. And I do believe they put chemicals in all that stuff. Because what I see with this weed, with people, that is just like crack cocaine. Just like crack cocaine. Something I used to do. These young people, like they have to have weed just like crack users had to have crack cocaine. Tell me something I'm lying about. Tell me something I'm lying about. That's what I see. We're showing them a savage nigga. But let me tell you, it was a design. It was a design. This ain't nothing that one created for the black man. No. Everything that they doing, everything that these young people doing, it was designed for them. Let me tell you. It was designed for after the, what they call it, COVID-19. It was designed behind being closed up in the house for so long, so much time, so many months. It was designed for us to be angry and aggravated and for them to put a gun in our hand. It was designed. You know what they said? I guarantee you they done sat at a table and done said, all we got to do is put the guns in their hand. Them niggas will start killing themselves. Watch what I tell you. You know why? Because we started on their brain back with crack cocaine. We done got it all the way down now. These pills done brought forth a certain type of nigga. Now, the pills, that opioid, brought forth a certain type of nigga. The savage nigga. Tell something I'm lying about. It worked. It worked. Then I think about this, the new thing that we got to worry about that's coming. I remember when I used to do my motivational speaking. I was speaking for a group of teachers. This has been 30 plus years ago, and I told the teachers it was an auditorium full of teachers, and I was up there speaking, and I told them, I said, y'all beware the crack babies. I remember a teacher coming up to me after I was through speaking. She said, I got a question to ask you. I said, what is that, ma'am? She said, what do you mean by the crack babies? I said, well, during that crack epidemic, people out there smoking crack but still having sex, and they have babies. I said, these are going to be a type of children that y'all never seen or y'all never dealt with before. They came along. Like I say, we've gotten to the epidemic of the opioid and whatever else they put in these drugs. Now, the savage nigga, the ones that's doing the fentanyl, I want you to think about what kind of offspring they gonna bring. I looked up the word savage. That word gives 7 definitions, all of which I can equivalent to the savage nigga. Only one I couldn't equivalent to. All of which. Y'all think I'm lying? Pull up that definition of savage nigga. Of savage. And see what it says about uncontrolled, wild animal, uncivilized, unsocialized. Read all the definitions, and you'll see what I'm talking about. You'll see exactly what I'm talking about. See, it's time for us to really get through to our young people and tell them what's going on. Because that society out there, y'all know who I'm talking about. Hey, they got something for them. I started off last year trying to tell, during that election or whatever, I started trying to tell what was going to go on. We got to start talking to our young people. Them agents are going to start picking them off, I guarantee you. They already done showed you that they don't give a damn shooting a white woman. They already done showed that. So, it's my duty to start back opening my mouth. My mama told me, she said, baby, you need to start back speaking. She said, because people listen to you, because you got something to say. I used to try to talk this way 30 years ago to head this off, because I seen it coming. When I was laying up in the hospital after I got shot, I promised God that I was going to do whatever he wanted me to do. And I started trying to talk to people. But I had this style that was so raw that, I used to be thinking people, wasn't paying me no attention. But my mama said the reason why you don't hear nothing, she said, because everybody's just looking at you, Derrick. She had to tell me that. And then I went to this school up in Centennial High School, up in Roswell. And they got me to speak up there. Now, it was white kids, it was Hispanics and all that sort of stuff like that. Then, man, they got me there one time. They called me back. I said, y'all want me back? They said, yeah, we do. Man, I said, Derrick, man, he said, let me tell you, the white man now, he said, we have never had no one that can hold these kids' attention like you do. He said, man, boy, when you speaking, you could hear a rat lick ice. A rat lick ice. I was trying to form what I call a trauma team. It was me and two other guys. All three of us were blind. That was me, Darryl Snulligan, and my friend Cowboy, Calvin Hill. Derrick Maddox, Darryl Snulligan, and Calvin Hill. All three of us were blind from gunshots. Let me tell y'all what happened. Cowboy, he didn't make it with me and Snug that day. He had something to come up. So it was just me and Snug. My mama drove us up there. And I spoke first. My mama told me after it was over. And then Snug, he spoke after me. After it was over, my mama said, Derrick, what they did. So when y'all were telling y'all story, she said, it's like they knew what y'all was getting ready to say. She said, when it came down to them, when y'all just finna let them know how y'all became blind, they would dim the lights, dim all the lights in the place. And say, when the lights went off, time y'all said what y'all said, a spotlight came on y'all. She said, I've never seen nothing like that before. It came on y'all. And y'all didn't even know it, but y'all were just so into it. All them kids were just amazed at what y'all was saying. But let me tell you this. Snug, Big Snug, I heard his story for the first time. I had heard that he had got shot. And I had been telling him we were going to do some motivational speaking for these kids. So when he told his story, I'm sitting there. I'm in amaze at what he's saying. I didn't know. I know he lost his sight from being shot. I just didn't know how he got shot. When I learned that he put a pistol to his head and shot himself, that's how he became blind, I was blown away. But let me tell you, when we got through, when them kids came up to us, they were telling us how much they appreciate us telling them our stories. And that's when I learned that it's some kids out there dealing with some stuff because they were talking to Snug about thinking about committing suicide and all this old stuff like that. You know, it was very powerful, and I was trying my best to get it together, but I learned, like everything else, this speaking thing is a business. And when people know that you don't know what it is, they'll try to take advantage of you. And I wasn't going to let nobody do that to me because they had done it enough when it came to the speaking. But I'm telling you, it's time for people to get back raw. Somebody to get raw with speaking to these young people, man. We got to head this stuff off. We got young kids that don't, what kind of influence do they have in their life? What kind of influence, what kind of people are talking to them? I listen to crime stories all the time. Well, I'm going to tell y'all the one I was listening to just a little while ago before I came down here to record this. True interrogations. True interrogations. At night, sometime at night, I can't sleep. And I'll turn into true interrogation and I just be listening. Every time I hear them young brothers, you know, they interrogate them, but they already know what they done did. They already got the answers to the questions. And I be listening to them brothers trying to talk out of what they done, trying to talk themselves out of it. And it's too late. What you gonna say? It's too late. Then I hear at the end, they were sentenced to life without parole. life in prison without parole. Oh man, that hurts me so much when I hear that. I say, Lord have mercy. That could have been me. That could have been me. Life without parole. See, I feel like what happened to me, I got shot in the face with a 12-gauge shotgun. Actually, I got shot 5 times. Once in the face, once in the back with a 12, well, in my face with 12-gauge bird pellets. I got over 250 pellets in my face. Every time doctor take the x-ray, they are made. I'm going to tell you, my daughter, she was with me a couple of months ago at the hospital, and they did an x-ray on me. And next thing you know, the nurse came in, and she was like, oh my God, Derrick, how did you get so much metal in your face? Now see, I didn't even think about it because it's been so long for me. But the thing about it, my daughter didn't know that. And she was like, what is she talking about? So then another nurse came. A little while later, another nurse came in. She said, I just got to ask you this. I just got to. And you know, my daughter was like, oh, Dad, you got that much? Like that, okay? So then, when my daughter was with me another time, and they did an x-ray, and the guy, I asked him, can you show my daughter? He said, yeah, I can show it to her. And he showed it to her. And she was like, oh my God, Daddy, you got this metal all through your body. You know what I mean? So, you know, I got shot in the back with a 12-gauge slug. You know, a doctor told me if that would have came through my body, it would have blown my heart out. I got shot in the thigh twice with a .357 Magnum. One of them still lies in my groin right now. My daughter's seen that on the x-ray. Matter of fact, I got a set of x-rays upstairs right now. And I got shot in my leg with a 9mm. Now, when I got shot with that 9mm, that's the worst pain I ever felt in my life. Oh my God, I can't nothing match it. I used to tell people, if you cannot bring that type of pain to me, you can't hurt me. You can't hurt me because it went through my nerves. It almost made me stand up. But I'm just telling y'all, it's time for somebody to get back busy. And I think the job belongs to me, talking to my young people. I might not get through to all of them, but I'll get through to some. Let me tell you something. Let me give y'all some examples. When I used to go do my speaking at schools, elementary, middle, high schools, when I would leave these places, people would see me out, you know, out in society or whatever, in the city. They would see me, and sometimes people would come over to me. And one time I was walking in the mall, and a lady got the attention of the person who I was with, and told her that she wanted to say something to me. So I said she wanted to say something. I said, what is it? She said, I just got to tell you. She said, you changed my son's life. I said, oh, I did? She said, yeah. I said, what you mean? She said, you came to speak at his school. She told me what school that he went to, and I was like, it's been some weeks since I was at that school. She said, yeah. She said, but I'm gonna tell you, that day you went up there to speak, when he came home, she said, he just told me about you. He told me the thing that you were saying to him and to them. He said, and a lot of stuff that I was saying, he said, Mama, that's the stuff that you be saying to me. And she said, let me tell you this, I was having problems out of my son, some real problems. She said, so I just want to thank you. She said, I have really seen a change in him. Another example, like I say, people will come up to me weeks later, months later, sometimes even years. Let me tell you what I mean. I used to work down at Atlantic Station. And when I used to come downstairs, I'm walking with my cane, You know, I get out the elevator, walk around the elevator. I walk straight. I'll see, is it a bus out here? They say, Derrick. I say, yeah. Because, you know, it'd be different drivers every day. But this particular day, the dude said, Derrick. I said, yeah, I go. And I walk right on up, get on the bus. I sat right behind the driver, right behind him. So when I sat down, he took off. We had been riding for a minute, you know. I guess, you know, he wasn't saying that at first. I guess he was waiting on the right time to say what he wanted to say or trying to get the courage to say, well, I don't know what took him that long to talk to me. But he just said, hey, Derrick. I said, yeah. He said, I got something to tell you. I said, what's that? He said, man, you the reason I'm driving this bus. I said, I am? He said, yeah, man, you the reason. I said, what you mean? He said, man, you the reason I changed my life, man. He said, I'm serious. He said, you came to my high school. When I was in high school, you came up there and spoke to us. He said, man, and the stuff that you were saying, man, he said, man, that made me change my life. He said, I had been dealing in the street, man. He said, I came out the street. He said, yeah, man, you the reason why. You the reason I changed, man. I'm dead serious. I said, oh, my. I got chills just like I'm getting them right now. I got chills when he told me that. You know what I mean? But like I say, I'm not going to get to all of them. I ain't going to get to everybody, but I'm going to get to somebody. I'm going to get to a few of them, especially with what's going on today. Somebody got to come raw, got to come real with these kids because they headed for some destruction that they're not prepared for. Please understand. You know, like I say, I used to want to come raw like this. A guy told me one time when I got through speaking, he said, man, you way ahead of your time, dog. I said, what? He said, yeah, man. He said, boy, you ahead of your time. He said, boy, you just don't know what you got. You got something powerful. Let me tell you something. My first wife, Sean, she's passed on, God rest her soul. But she called me one day. She said, Derrick. I said, yes. She said, hang up the phone, because I know you on the phone. I said, Lord have mercy, one more. Wait a minute, Sean. Got off the phone. I clicked back. I said, yeah, what is it? She said, I need you to do something for me. I said, man, what is it, Sean? She said, boy, be quiet. I said, what? She said, I need you to come speak for me at the church. She was over the youth at the church. I said, oh, yeah? She said, yeah. I said, I ain't did that in a while. You know that. She said, look, I know you can do it. I said, okay, I'll do it. I said, when you want me to come? She said, Sunday. I said, Sunday? I said, Sean, that ain't but 2 days away. That was a Thursday night. Somebody that supposed to come came, they canceled. And she, I said, Daddy, you ain't give me time to put that together, whatever. You know, I have to put stuff together in my mind. I can't, you know, read that off of that like that. She's like, boy, I know you can do it. I said, all right, Sean. I went and spoke at the church, Little Miller Grove Baptist Church in Tucker, Georgia. And I didn't know what I was going to say until I got up. And when I used to go speak at everywhere I go, I say, God, lay something on my heart. What you want me to say? Please, lay something on me. I promise you, I did not know what story was going to come in my head until I got up. And when I got up, I started telling them, I told them my story, but it's like God put it together right in my head the way I need to come with it. And I left them off with this here. I used to have a dump truck. I was in the dump truck business. And I was riding with my driver one day. And I got a call. Somebody needs some dirt, right? So the person said they wanted some loads of dirt. He said, but they want some clean dirt. Now, I hadn't been in the dump truck business that long. I didn't know what clean dirt was. My partner who got me in the business, I called him. I said, man, somebody wants some low dirt, on the side, He said they want some clean dirt. I said, what the hell is some clean dirt? He said, oh man, they won't work dirt that ain't got no rocks in there, no stumps, none of that stuff. I said, well, where did I get that from? My partner told me. He said, go to the cemetery. I said, the cemetery? He said, yeah, go to the cemetery. I said, they got some clean dirt at the cemetery. He said, oh yeah, believe me. Went to the cemetery. I pulled in there. When I pulled in there, it was, the dude seen me coming. The dude said, oh, you must want some dirt. I said, yeah. I said, I get some, got some to give me? He said, yeah, I got some. He said, I got plenty. I said, okay. So I said, how much you gonna charge me for? He said, oh man, look at him. He said, man, you can keep having. You know what I mean? I said, oh yeah? He said, yeah, because in that dump truck business, loads of dirt is money. People charge you for a load of dirt. People will buy loads of dirt from you. See? And I was really learning the business. But this place here, they weren't charging you nothing.